No, I did the described commands in Git, so I pulled your changes from your branch and I reviewed the code, but I didn't do any changes.
Oh, but that means I can use the same code, right? I can use the same branch.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me start the screen sharing then. What's this? Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so add filtering to users index. So this is the user index. Oh, by the way, about the placement of the filter thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I didn't pay much attention to it. I just put it there. But I was telling Thomas about your progress, and I showed the example of this form. He said it's okay, but it's a good idea to move the search field a little bit down, so it's on the same line as members.
Okay, sure.
So you see here, we have this row here. Yeah, we have this row. In this row, we have two columns. This is the first column, and this is the second column with a search field. So we have two columns. And in this column, we have all members, and we have some other text. And in this column, we have just one search field, and that's it, right?
Okay.
So the problem at the moment now is that this search field is at the top of the column, yeah? And all members is not really at the top of the column, it's a little bit in the middle, because it has more text in it.
Mm-hmm.
So there are two solutions to this. What you could do is, well, the easiest solution really, the easiest solution for this is to take this div, yeah, and add a margin to it. So if it was, so for example, we add, okay, we don't really need to take this in. We could take this form line here, yeah. We could take this form line, and in the CSS file, you could write something like this. You could write something like, do we have an ID for this? No, we don't have an ID, right? Okay, so we could add a class to this. So from line, and then we could add users filter like this. So and then in the CSS file, the CSS file for users, this one here, users CSS in here. We could add a CSS class, something like this. So we would say, just to make it clear for you, so we could say something like users filter class, do margin top and say 40 pixels. And that will move, this search field 40 pixels down within this column. So it will be roughly on the same line as all members.
Mm-hmm.
And then also you could take out this pull right from here and put it in here, like this. So you do extend pull right. So instead of writing this pull right inside here, we just say users filter, and inside users filter would say, okay, do the same CSS as in the pull right, and also adjust the margin top.
Okay.
In fact, I can show what this looks like. So if I move this to the file in here, so for example, if I put it in here, so users filter extend pull right margin top 40 pixels. Margin top 40 pixels. Hey, what's wrong? All right, okay. Yeah, that's it. Now, if I go back to our file, so we have this formula line, users filter. Okay. Now let's see what it looks like. What it looks like. I will share my screen. How do I share my screen? Right, I lost my Google. Okay, I found it. Okay, Google Hangout is here. So I need to share my screen. Okay, so can you see it now?
Mm-hmm.
The filter users is roughly on the same place as all members.
Yeah.
By the way, do you know how to use the inspector? So you can actually inspect element and then choose this form class user filter, and this is the CSS we have added to it, 40 pixels. So you can actually change it live here. So you can put it 10 pixels and it will move up. So basically you can just find the correct size for it, maybe 50 pixels or something. Like this. Yeah?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so play around with it. But I think it's. Did you have another idea where to put it?
No, actually, I was thinking the same, that the level of all members will be okay. Probably aligned to the bottom because the field is slightly less tall, less higher than the text itself.
Right. The problem with aligning to the bottom is that it's you can see we have two columns here. This is column number 1 and this is column number 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this and this. And the problem with aligning to the bottom of the column is...
No, I meant the bottom of the text of the title.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but that's like the bottom of the column. So basically, to the bottom, to this line, yeah.
No, to just the title, all members.
Oh, you mean to the bottom of all members?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but then the only way of doing that is with basically changing this orange margin, which is now 40 pixels. That's the only way of doing it. Another way of doing it would be, try to align it to the bottom of this box here, like to the bottom of the column. But that's a little bit trickier, really. Yeah, so the easiest thing is with the margin. But have fun with it anyway.
Okay, I'll try some different ways and arrangements.
Okay, so let's go to our JavaScript then. This is users.js. So this is what we have here. One thing I have added, you must have noticed, is this function here.
Yeah.
Which basically, when you press enter in that field, it doesn't refresh the page, because by default, when you press an enter in a form field, it makes submit and refreshes the page.
Sure. I thought that this was prevented by the next line, but I guess it wasn't.
No, because the next one is just the key up. It doesn't care what key is.
Yeah.
But when you press, the problem is key down happens first, and then it's key up. So the problem is when you press enter, the key down event happens and the page refreshes, and only then the key up event fires.
I didn't know that.
Before that. Okay, so let's write adjustment specs. So if we go to our specs, spec JavaScript, you'll see a bunch of adjustment specs. So this, for example, let's go for, I don't know, events. A, it's not opening. I see. I changed branch. So okay, hangout button spec. So let's open our code here. Users.js. Okay, so this is our code here, and this is our spec. So adjustment spec is pretty much the syntax is very close to our spec, but it's written in JavaScript. I prefer to write in JavaScript and CoffeeScript because it's a lot easier to write, and the syntax is very much closer to Ruby, and it's easier to understand it. I mean, yeah. Okay, so let's make a new file here. So this will called. By the way, do we have users spec.js? No, we don't. Okay, so we make users spec.js. Okay. So we start a new file, and then let's do it. So just describe, and this is users. How should we call it, by the way? Do we have a standard? No, we don't. So I'll just describe users. And then here we call a function called describe. We're passing the description of the test, and we're passing a function with the actual test. So we do a function. Okay. So here we do the same for it block. So it so we say it prevents submitting the filter form on enter key. Okay, so here we should write our test, right? Okay, let's go then. So right, let's think about it. How could we do that? The thing is, the adjustment spec doesn't know anything about your HTML. It's like our spec. Our spec doesn't know about anything about your view. You have to tell it. You have to stub it out. You have to mock it out, whatever. And the usual way of doing it, let's just create before each block here. So before each, and then let me just remember the syntax before each function. Okay, so before each function. Okay, so in this before each block, we have to set up a sort of fake page with our element. The way of setting it up is by using a fixture. So I'll just so let's set up a fixture here. So set fixtures. So basically, we're setting up a fake. We're sort of making up a fake page, which looks exactly the same as our page, so we can work on it.
Okay.
What we need on our page, we need an element. It doesn't matter which element we have. We could just have a div, and set fixtures. Set fixtures function sets up that fixture inside the page. And sandbox is just a way to wrap, to make a div. So basically, sandbox this makes a div with an ID and data title and these things. So we need we need to make a div with ID user filter.
I guess I think it was users filter, or
Right,
I don't
okay.
know.
It's user filter. If you just look here on this here side, user filter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So ID user filter. One great thing about CoffeeScript, you don't need brackets. You don't need to look after the brackets. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit lost here. So what's going on here? This closes this, but we need to close the before each. Okay. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, so this sets up a div with an ID user filter, and now we can work with that div. Now our code here, when somebody presses the enter button, it prevents default action, right?
Yeah.
So we need to sort of simulate somebody pressing the enter key. So to do that, we need to we can do this. We can say user filter trigger, and then we tell it which event to trigger. So trigger key down, and then we have to write an expectation. So expect. Now we have to think about expectation. What kind of expectation should we have?
Do we have to specify what the key should be or not? I mean, if we are testing for the first key when the key should be enter.
Definitely, we should. We should do that. We should specify it. But just before we do that, I want you to write an expectation. How are we going to check? How are we going to check that this function worked?
Well, if the page doesn't reload.
Okay, so the page doesn't refresh, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try that. Let me just, I'm just going to my browser.
Okay.
And I want to see what happens. So I will disable this code here. Just comment it out. And I will try pressing enter in here and see what happens. Okay, it reloads the page. But the thing is, how can we check that the page hasn't been reloaded?
Well.
Or how can we check that the page has been reloaded? Okay, I think there are two ways. One way is to check if the URL at the top of the browser didn't change. Because if you press the page, it will change. Although, in our case, we have, at the moment, we have users, and then when we press the enter button, we get users question mark. So we could check if, the URL hasn't changed, or if it has changed. That's one thing to check. Another way to check is actually to see if the default event has been fired. So, what happens here? If we don't say prevent default, right, then the default event happens.
Sure.
And we could check. If that default event is being called or not. So if it's not called, everything is fine. If it's called, okay, then our action doesn't work. The default event is something to do with submit. let me just have a look in Google. So JavaScript event submit. I just want to check if there is an event for submit button.
Okay.
I think there is. Okay, it's on submit event. It is on submit event. Let's check if that gets triggered. So we'll add another event listener here. So let's add on submit, and then let's just do something like alert it works. So now when I press the enter button, it should give me an alert. Let me reshare my screen. So I refresh the page.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. And now I press enter here. Okay, the page refreshes, but our call is not our call is not being called, so that submit doesn't work.
Or if we could type it to prevent default and then alert, wouldn't that be okay?
Okay, good idea. Let's try that. Although, I mean, usually the event still works together with the default event. Okay, let's try refresh this. Press enter. No, so that submit event has not been caught. It is some other event, I guess. So let's Google again. Wait a second. Wait a second. Right, it's probably not. It's probably the event. It's probably not the event on the button, but it's probably an event on the form.
Okay, so this event submit would be on the submit button, and there would be another event for the form.
Let me reshare the screen so you can see the code. Okay, so if we go back to the code, so now we're attaching this. Our test function, which does an alert, right, on user filter, and user filter is the button. But the thing is, I think the submit event is being called on the form. So let's try attaching it to the form.
Okay.
Right. By the way, no, it's okay. It's okay. So let's try attaching it here. So instead of we do users filter, this one here. So we attach it on the form. So users filter form. Okay, we can be specific and say form users filter form. Attach. Now let's see. Okay, it works.
Okay.
Can you trust me it works?
Sure.
I don't have to refresh the screen. Let me just try, commenting out this prevent default and see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, the alert is being called, and after that it refreshes. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So we don't need this anymore, I guess, this function anymore. Okay, we've tested it. Now, another thing is, here I'm saying on key down, prevent default, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another way of doing this, I think, how about we try this? In the same function we have for search, so on key up, we could try, what is it? Prevent propagation or stop propagation. So let me check. Yeah, it is stop propagation. So the thing is, what happens here? When you press a button inside this search field, yeah, that event is being, the default event is being prevented, but that event is also goes up, it goes up to the form, and it's being caught by the form because it's at the top.
Yeah.
And that's called bubbling up. So we tell it, stop bubbling up, stop here, stop propagation, don't go up. Let me check if that works. So I refresh, I try to press enter, and it still refreshes. So that means that stop propagation in here doesn't work. So
would we be able to change key up with key down for the whole function?
You mean here? Key up?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, will it work for when typing strings?
Let's try. Not sure. No, it doesn't. All right, okay. It won't work because we're doing prevent default, and that means it doesn't let us to put the key down.
Oh, okay, I see.
Like we can't type anything. So let us use the old way of doing it. Okay, so now we know what we want to test. We want to test that the submit event is not being triggered by anybody. Okay?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so how can we do that? So that's one way of checking, and the other way of checking that when we do a trigger key down on our user filter, that doesn't trigger an event on submit. Now, the easiest way of doing this, I guess, is doing it like this. So we can make this. So we attach an event to document on submit, right? And we call a function like I don't know, function. Okay. Actually, it's better to do it like this. So we say var okay, even better to do it like this. So okay, just to make it easier for you to understand what's going on. So what we do here is we create a spy, which is the same as an R stack, a double. Are you familiar with doubles?
Aware of what? I didn't hear.
Are you familiar with a double, a mock?
Yeah.
Yeah. Create spy is the same as creating a double in R stack. It's pretty much the same. So just let me look up the syntax. I haven't done it for some time. So we need, yeah, we need create. Okay, so it's not create spy. It is actually Jasmine. Oh, wait a second. I'm not sure we need Jasmine. Yeah, we need a Jasmine here. So, Jasmine creates pipe, and we call it, oops. So we call this submits pipe. Okay, and then here on submit, we will call our submit spy. Okay, so what happens here? We're creating a function, which is not a real function, but it's sort of a double. It's a function that we can, spy on. We can check if this function has been called and stuff like that. And then we're attaching that submit spy function to the submit event. So here we trigger the key down and we say, okay, so expect our submit spy. Expect submit spy, and then we do it similar as we did in aspect to have been called. That's it. And that's our test. But actually, we needed to do not to have been called, like this.
Yeah.
Expect submit spy not to have been called, because we don't want to call it. Okay, so I have a mistake here. So we need var submit. We actually need to assign it to something, because Jasmine create spy just creates a submit spy, but we need the reference to it.
Okay.
So var submit spy. Now it's available, and now we can check it here. Okay.
Just a question that the sandbox that we've created above, was it filled, or what does Jasmine create for it?
Right. I will show you in a second what happens.
Okay.
Okay. So. Right, how can I share my screen now so you can see it? Okay, I have to switch between screens to show what's happening. But anyway, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start the Jasmine server, which you do by doing rake Jasmine. And that starts a web server on localhost 888. And now if I share my screen, okay, this is it. So if I go to localhost 888, it will run our Jasmine tests. And this is our test which is failing. Users prevent submitting the filter form on enter key. Submit spy is not defined.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you were asking me what is that set fixture sandbox that is being created? Well, this is it. So if I do inspect element, and this is the document which is being created by Jasmine. And you see here, it says Jasmine content.
Yeah.
Wait a second, where is it? Oh wait, is it not here? Is it here? So trying to remember where exactly is it. No, this is not it. Right. What we're gonna do is we're gonna open up this spec, which is our user spec, right? I'm gonna put a breakpoint here, like here, for example. So after the sandbox has been created, I'm gonna rerun this. That must be one of my old breakpoints. Okay, so okay, it's stopped here, and now if I do document, if I open up document, so this is the document which is being created inside the spec, right? So when you open up body, you'll see there is adjustment fixture in here. And if we open up the adjustment fixture, you'll see there's a div called user filter, which has been created.
Okay.
And you can
because that's what I recall, that you said it creates a div, and I was not sure if it's okay for the test to check for submitting or those are stuff on a div.
All right, it doesn't actually matter. I mean, events can be called on anything, so it doesn't matter at all. But anyway, here we're getting an error. Submit spy is not defined. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go back to the console. Right. Okay, here, and then here I'm gonna open up a side-by-side window. And another way of checking adjustment specs, and that's the way Travis does it, is by doing rake adjustment, rake adjustment CI. And this will run it in here. So say it gives us the same error. User prevents can't find variable submit spy. Okay. Can't find variable submit spy. So let's find out what the problem is. I guess the problem here is that we're defining submit spy inside this before each block, and this is not our spec. I mean, this is not Ruby. And if you define something inside a function in JavaScript, it stays inside that function. So what we need to do, we need to define a variable in here in the global context. So we define var submit spy. In fact, to be honest, I mean, we could do that, or we could just move this in here, like this.
Okay.
So basically, basically this is the same structure. So given, when, then. So given I have this, trigger the button and then check if this has been called. So let's run rake adjustment again, and it is passing.
Cool.
Wow. I'm surprised it passed actually, to be honest. But okay. So let's go back here and make a split here. Where's our Hangout thing? Or not Hangout. The users.js. Okay, so this is our file. And now we want to test this, right? Let me just copy it. Copy this function in here so we can see it. Okay, so we can see it there. So this function would, what can we check here?
We could check if it's assigns users, or first gets the search string?
Right. Well, basically, we have two cases here. We need to check that some users. Well, we have three things here. I will write it. I will write it out for you, and then you can implement it. So, first thing that we have here is check that found is shown, then not found is hidden, and all shown if search string is empty.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, we have three things we need to check. I will do the first one for you, and then you can do the rest.
Okay.
Okay, so we do it, and so check that found is shown, right? So shows user if contains search string. Yeah. Okay, so let's do the given block. So what are we going to search for? We're going to search. I mean, first thing we need to define. We need to put a user in our fixture. So let's go in here and add another fixture. So how do we so basically
it should be probably a div with a class that we are looking for, this media lists
but
lead
we're
items.
also looking for a list inside there.
Yeah.
So let's do it like this then. So let's just set a fixture here, the standard way. So let's go for div. So well, actually, what we can do is just go to our index, to our file, index users, and just grab it from here. So where is it? We have UL class media list row, and we have an LI class in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we could do here is this. So this will be our fixture. Now, of course, class media list. Okay, we don't need this. We don't need the ID. Nobody cares about that. Right. We need an li inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we want to show. So inside li we'll have a user. We'll have Bob Jones, and then we close the li, and we close the UL.
Does it matter that the structure of the li is different in the front end? I mean, we have some other elements inside of the li, like paragraph and so on.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, we know that our function, right? Our function just cares that it finds anything with this media list. It finds all the list elements.
Okay.
It just finds all the list elements and it shows them or it doesn't show them. So what we want to do here, we want to run our function and make sure that Bob Jones is, we can see Bob Jones on the screen.
Okay.
Okay, so this is our fixture here, UL class media list, UL. Okay, so this should be...
I think you've deleted the braces for the
Yeah, I just noticed that. Okay. Okay, so we have the fixture here. Okay, so here we do. Now we need to call our function. So we do it exactly the same way as we did in the last test. So we do user filter. Do we have a user filter? Yeah,
Yeah.
we do have a user filter. Okay, so user filter, and then we do what's this? User filter trigger, and then we have to trigger our key up, right?
Sure.
We have to trigger our key up, and then now, but the thing is, when we trigger key up, when we trigger key up, we need to make sure that this user filter contains a value, because that is checking for value. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say user filter. Oh, this is pissing me off. So val and check the substring. So let's go for Bob. Oh, by the way, you have more things here to check. You have small and capital letters. So we're setting the value of our user filter as Bob, right? And then we're triggering the function.
Okay.
And what are we expecting? We are expecting that
the list item to be visible.
We're expecting that the list item is visible. Now, we're using a jQuery Jasmine library here. So basically, Jasmine just provides you with test framework. But also, we're using such thing here in the support. We're using no in helpers. Where is it? Not in support, not in helpers. Oh, it must be in the gem. Right. Let's see. I'll show you. So in the gem file. Okay, you see Jasmine jQuery Rails. Those are different helpers to help within the spec. It's like for Capybara, we have visit link, have selector, have text, and things like that.
Yeah.
Jasmine doesn't give you that, but Jasmine Query does, and we could just use Jasmine Query for things like something to be visible. I'll just post you a link. You can open the. I'll post you a link into the chat. And you can help me just looking through that and finding the right thing.
Okay.
Should be something like to be visible. I can see to be hidden.
There's to be visible.
One thing is okay. So there is a quick way we could do this is like this. So add list and then do ID ID Bob like this, and then say expect Bob to be visible. And this is the new autocomplete library I'm trying to use, and it just sometimes just does the completing for me, and it really is really annoying.
Yeah, it's strange. It has a strange behavior.
To be visible.
But there is yeah.
Okay, like this. So hopefully this works. So you get the idea, yeah? We're checking the value Bob, we're triggering the function, and we're checking that this Bob here, should be visible.
Sure.
Let's try. Wow, it is passing.
Yeah, nice.
So
And I was thinking, should we should we make an example for the prevent default event on the key up as well?
what's the default event on the key up?
Oh well, I don't know. It's actually writing the letter in the box or not?
In fact, I don't even think we need to prevent default.
Yeah,
To be honest.
yeah, I think this might have left from another edit of the code.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. One thing I want to check is, okay, so fixtures, load fixtures, Jasmine get fixtures, load read Okay, so how about we add another element here? So this will be Alice Drew. Alice like this, okay. And now here we say expect Bob to be visible and expect Alice to be hidden. Wow, it is passing. I'm getting worried here.
Cool.
Usually if it works like this, so
Something's not okay.
Change this. Because it should be more than 58. At the moment we have just 58 specs for some reason, but it should be more. See, it is passing. That means it's not picking up our specs for some reason.
Could we run the spec itself alone?
Not easily. Not easily, to be honest. Let's check again. I mean, this. You see, this was working before. We had 59 specs, and now then we had 59 specs, and then we had 58 specs. That means this spec is not being run anymore. That usually happens because there is an error somewhere, and I think the error is somewhere in here. Let's have a look. So see this? Okay, that's it. Function. Function. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the problem with JavaScript. It fails and often fails silently. Okay, so user show user if contains search string expected length 10 HTML node Alice to be hidden, expected to be hidden, but Alice is not hidden. So that means Bob works. Ah, yeah, because I've changed the mouse Bob.
Yeah.
So let's change that back to Bob. Okay, expect Alice to be hidden, but Alice is not hidden. And why is Alice not hidden? Should be. Right. Any ideas? Why is this failing?
No.
Okay. So one last thing because I need to go really soon. I'm going to show you how to debug this in Chrome. I think that's going to be really useful for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm sharing my screen now. I'm going to run the adjustment web server again. Okay, so this is failing. Yeah, Alice to be hidden.
Yeah.
Then what you do, you open up the debugger. In the sources, in the specs, you find your spec, which is user spec here. And then you put a breakpoint here before they expect. Well, we know that Bob is working, but Alice is failing.
Okay.
We put a breakpoint here. We rerun the specs. Boom. Okay, we're inside here, and now let's check it manually. So we do. So first, let's see if Alice is here in the document. Okay, so Alice is here. If we do Alice, it is here. Now, for some reason, it doesn't look to be hidden at all, right?
Yeah.
Now, our function, when it finds something, it does hide in it, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Like this. Okay, let's see what happens if we hide it. So if we hide it, then something should happen to its properties. But I don't actually see that something happened on this. Interesting. I'm just thinking that maybe when you call show or hide, our function calls show or hide, right?
I think if our function is not selecting the right element to show and hide.
No, but I think it is selecting the right elements. I mean, we can check that easily. Okay, to check that, what we need to do is we need to put a breakpoint inside our function. So let's go inside assets, find our users.js, find our function, which is just here. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And then rerun the spec. Okay, so it seems like our function is not being called at all. We're doing a trigger key up, but the function is not being called. Of course, but it's not being called. Is it? Let me just think about it for a second.
Okay.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay, the problem here is that our function is not being triggered. But I think, okay, of course. Now, what happens? Right, what happens? You see, the way Jasmine works is Jasmine is okay. I'll show that. So the way Jasmine works is Jasmine creates a virtual document, which I showed you already, right? This is the document. It is empty, and in the body there is this Jasmine fixtures which we create. It doesn't know about the real HTML. You see, so this is the Jasmine fixture we have created for our tests, right?
Okay, yeah.
Also, in the head, it connects all kinds of, it connects all the JavaScript files from which we tell it to connect, and we just tell it, connect all the JavaScript files in the project so we can test them. But most importantly, it connects, you see, it connects this Jasmine jQuery library, and it connects the Jasmine itself, and also it connects our specs. So we can test the specs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if we go inside our spec, right, and this is, this is our spec, but our spec is testing the user.js file, right, which one is, let's see, where is it? Assets, assets should be here somewhere. Assets, that's it, assets users. So this is the file. This is the file. And look how you have, you have put this function inside this file, right?
Yeah.
But how does this function work? This function actually works by defining a website one. How does this file work? This file works by defining a website one object, right? And that website one object has got all the functions in it. And then when you call an init function on website one, that will attach all the events to different things.
Okay.
But we're not calling this function. Our website one calls these functions, inside the code. But inside our spec, we're not actually calling this function. So when we set up our fixture, we need to do website one init to attach all the events in here.
I see.
And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the code now. I'm going to go right to the top where we have our set fixtures. And after we set the fixtures, because otherwise, if you don't have a fixture, then you cannot attach an event because you don't have anything to attach an event to. So we do website one, and we do init. You'll see it in a second. Okay. Now, if I switch back to the browser and I reload the page. Okay, this is our spec, and here, see here, I have added website one init.
Yeah.
And that should have attached everything to our. That should have attached everything to. That should have attached events, which we should call. So let's put a breakpoint here. Okay, it says undefined is not a function. Undefined is not a function, and probably that's why. Probably it's because it's not finding the website one object. So okay, maybe because it's because of this. So let's refresh it here. Okay, so I'm calling website one now on window object. So window website one init. And then let's try triggering this. So we're triggering it, and we're not going inside our users. We have a breakpoint, but we are not going inside this breakpoint for some reason. That means the website 1. Oh, wait a second. It's website 1 define users, and then it's init. Init is init, and init should have done all the jobs. Website 1 define user.
Maybe we could look at another Jasmine spec that has the before set properly, so it might be some.
I tell you, it's actually a mess inside those other specs, to be honest. I mean, let me just check. Wait a second. There's an easy way of doing this. We can just go inside our spec here. Where's our spec? User spec, and let's put a breakpoint here, reload, and then just check a website. Website 1 is defined. You see, website 1 is defined. So now, what about our website 1? Website 1 init. Okay, so init is not defined, and it's probably init like this. Define function, run once, modules. Okay, how about this? What about if we try it now? No, not working. User spec line 5. Yes, so website 1 is not defined. It's not defined on window, eh? So, window website 1 is defined. Right, but init is not defined. Okay, init is not defined. Okay, fine. Let's just change this slightly. I'm gonna use that underscore init function inside. So let's try. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, it's been set up now. I don't see that it triggers key up at the moment. But we're sort of closer to it. So how can we check if that has been set up? Okay, that's another way. So let's reload this again. And then, so let's do, what is it, user filter?
Yeah.
No. Wait a second. No, how come it doesn't find user filter? We have just set up the fixture for that. We have the user filter in here. You see user filter is empty.
That's strange.
Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. Okay, so what I've done here, I have moved the init website 1 to here.
Okay.
So let's see. Wait, our user filter is not there for some reason, but it should be. We have done it in the before each function. Sandbox, ID, user filter. Why are we not finding it?
Could we see if the diff is in the HTML?
Let's see, media list. Okay, media list is there, but the sandbox ID user filter is not there. Yeah, let's see. That's easy. So document, open up the document, open up body, adjustment fixtures. No, it's not here. We have media list, but we don't have anything else. And that's why the event is not being bound to it, because it doesn't exist for some reason. Okay, so we don't lose time now. I'm going to delete this sandbox thing. Just replace it with a regular div. Just do div ID equals user filter. Okay, let me refresh this. Okay, so I've just done div like this, plain text.
Yep.
So let's see. What?
That's all.
Okay, what's going on there? Set fixtures, user filter is not there. How can that be? And that's why our other test passes, because we trigger key down on user filter, which doesn't exist, and that's why submit spy never gets called.
Mm-hmm.
But wait, why does it set fixtures, div ID, user? Oh, I see. we are replacing the fixture. That's why.
Yeah. So if you set the HTML and
yeah, we need to append the fixture. You see what I mean? We need to append the fixture. We don't need to replace the fixture. So let me just have a look how to append the fixture. Load fixture, append load, read set fixtures, append set fixtures. It is. Append set fixtures.
So firstly we set fixtures on the first line with the ID and then append set fixtures for the next ones.
Yeah, I'll show you in a second. Okay, so if I reload this, okay, so, there's a mistake there. It is append capital S. Okay, so let's try now. User filter is there. Okay, wow. The website one has been called, so that should have set up all the events in the right places. Now let's trigger the event. Now we trigger the event, and for some reason that doesn't call our key up. So maybe website one init doesn't actually set our event. Let's just check. So refresh this again. Now let's go inside the website one init. Okay, so we're inside here. Blah blah blah. All right. You see, website one init function actually checks if it has set everything up already, and if it has set everything up already, it doesn't let it set up again. So see, it checks here. If the run once callbacks has been executed, then don't do it again. So what we need to do is run once callbacks. We need to reset the website one module again. I just wonder how to do it. Yeah, that's the whole problem with this website one object. Is just it is messy. Maybe clear, not clear. Modules init. Maybe. Wait a second. Maybe we can call clear. Let's see. What do we have available on website one? So website one. Okay, we can clear init, new page loaded, registered. Let's try clear. Okay, so we've cleared that. No, doesn't work.
Well, I was thinking if you need to go because we are more than an hour in this, we could continue later. I will try to get this
I think
done.
so. It's a good idea. Let me just try it one last time. Anyway, but you know quite a lot about Jasmine now, so you can play around with it.
Okay.
See how it works. I wouldn't bother too much with this website one thing. Let me work it out, and I'll tell you how to do it a little bit later. You can try some simpler tests at the moment. Just just basically try it around. So I'm gonna push this code to my repo now. Pull it off, and just play about with it.
Okay, sure, will do.
Okay, so I'm committing this now. Okay, so I'm committing this. Added Jasmine tests. Okay. Add filtering. Oops. Okay, Slice. So pull it off, play around with it, but you got the idea. I mean, you can start writing out the structure for the next tests. One thing is, before I work out how to deal with this website one thing, what you can do is you can actually take this function from your code, yeah?
Yeah.
Because this is the function from the code. What you can do here is you can actually put it in here.
I'm not seeing anything. I'm seeing the console that is with the Jasmine test.
Sorry, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Okay. Okay, this one.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so what you can do here, before I work out how to do with website one, you can take this your real function, and you can actually put it in here, like this. So it will attach this function. It will attach this event to this user filter here.
Okay.
And then you don't need to call website one. I mean, this is just a hack. This is just a hack for now. Now,
Okay.
you're touching right in the spec, and now you can test the spec. You can call it, you can trigger key up, and now key up should get triggered, and that should work. So
Okay, cool.
you can write all the tests now, and then I'll work out how to do it, and we can delete it from here and replace it with website one init or something.
Okay.
So let me commit this too. There you go.
Okay, cool. So I will pull it off. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks, and I will catch up later when we figure this out.
Sure, sure. All right. Okay, see you around.
Okay.
Have
See
fun.
you.
See you
Thank
soon.
you. Bye.